It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it is quite powerful. And I suspect that we are seeing it happen right in front of our very faces, which is going to massively influence price action, particularly coming into the month of November. We'll also go over a little bit of short-term price action as well. And I want to remind myself that the prior Crown Trading website is no more. It's down, it's out, and you can just get nicely moved over here to Teachable, which is actually a great venue. And all you need to do if you were on the prior venue and you have programs there that you want switched over is just email elsa.crowntrading@outlook.com. Yes, that's the one. And just explain to her the situation, and she will take care of you, no problem at all. Anyways, let's just jump right into it, starting off with the chart of the day, which is the 2-week chart time frame on CME here, and a few things of significant interest. Okay, first and foremost, maybe not foremost, but all parts are kind of equally necessary here, is that we do see the 2-week chart did reclaim and has used now that red 5 exponential moving average to base for price action yet again. And we expect that to happen during strong uptrending moves, like you see, perhaps back on over here in September of last year, and certainly of bull markets prior that we have seen back on over in 2020 and 2021 as well. We do expect Bitcoin to essentially remain above that as long as it is in trending motion. Also of significant interest here is that volatility represented by the BBWP indicator is at extreme lows. In fact, on CME, it's technically speaking the lowest that it's ever seen ever. Very comparable to what we saw back on over in the 2023 run in terms of length of time that has been this low. Also, we do see that the bi-weekly stochastic oscillator is positioned to the upside with last week's fresh closure, and that will be remaining with upside pressure as long as Bitcoin's above 63,200. So a few other things that are very important here. Sorry, I don't know why my brain is not working right now. Maybe I'm just redacted. In fact, that's very likely so. Lobotomization has happened. And here we go, talking about some more magic internet money. But we have a nice setup above the trending moving average, very low BBWP, and momentum also pointed up, which we have seen a few iterations of this over the past couple of years here, coming off of the 2022 lows. So in this case, I would look at that as overall a good signal, particularly, and this is essentially putting an invalidation on it, as long as Bitcoin is above that red 5 exponential moving average. That is what we would expect. Now, that also implies that if you do see Bitcoin come down below there and really close, especially higher timeframes below there, that is going to be indicative that this is invalidated, and also, likely another swing to the downside. That is essentially the low of this week, or the low of yesterday, as we were looking for a correction to open up this week. I believe now we've likely seen the low of that correction if things are indeed going to lift upwards and onwards from here, which I think that they probably do. That's just my personal opinion, but of course I'll show you the statistics on that a little bit later as well. This is not to be, by the way, misconstrued with the short term. The short term is different, is actually still different. Also, there is some hidden bullish divergence here on the biweekly stochastic oscillator. I don't see the same thing on the biweekly RSI. So to me, that's like not as strong. But hey, it is in there, to be fair. And again, as long as Bitcoin is using that 5 exponential to essentially base off of, that should be the low. That should be the low of this run as Bitcoin prepares, likely over the next couple of weeks here, to give another test towards prior all-time highs. Now, moving on from there and juxtaposing that versus the short term, I do think that we have probably seen the top for October here. Now, if we go to our Bitcoin October high statistics, we can see that in general, or on average, Bitcoin has seen the high of October on the 21st day of October. Well, that's actually rather interesting because when has the high been put in thus far? The 21st of October. By the way, what did we expect for the Bitcoin October lows in terms of an average? Day number 10 or so, if you round up there. And wait, what do you know over here? Bitcoin put in the lows on day number 10. Funny how that works out sometimes. Again, we do expect variance within these numbers. It's not always going to work out perfectly that it literally comes on the exact average, but I would say that we've probably seen the high for October here. Yes, in terms of macro uptrends, we sometimes see that, or we generally see actually the high come in a little bit later within the month. But we're already on day number 24, and with the way that things are looking, it looks like Bitcoin probably wants to correct into the beginning of November, which November traditionally puts in the lows very, very early within the month, by the way. So yes, anyways, going back on over here and referencing our daily stochastic oscillator, we can also see, or, just another sort of governor or guide that I'd be looking at to kind of judge how long this correction is likely to go on for, is as long as this is positioned to the downside, don't really expect anything significant to the upside, just more or less a range for Bitcoin, with the likely lows already being in. And now that will remain with downside pressure for today's period as long as Bitcoin's below 68,130. So, it's not impossible for Bitcoin to pop back up above there, but I'd say you're more than likely to see Bitcoin continue on with the range, especially when we go over here to the daily price statistics. Thursday actually is basically a coin flip in terms of whether it's likely to close positively or negatively since 2024 began. Kind of shallow returns on both sides of the positive and negative side, and that would be suggesting a range to the upside just below 68,100 and to the downside just above 65,700. So, kind of around yesterday's low. I suppose if Bitcoin were to come down around there, we would be expecting a bounce. Now, again, I want to reiterate the importance of the invalidation, because if this is going to work out, and if this is, as at least as I suspect, we should not expect a closure below yesterday's low. If that happens, that's a clear invalidation. That's very likely to at least lead towards one more decent swing to the downside, and probably throws a lot of other things off as well. But again, I don't personally think that's happening. That's just a subjective opinion. But hey, it is what it is. Anyways, what else do I want to reference here as well? Yeah, also the daily HPDR did a really good job on yesterday's price action, and today's, I suppose, as well. While Bitcoin did have a nice wick below the median, did not close below the median, most importantly, and today using the median again as a basing point. So, I don't really expect anything significantly outside of this range for the coming days. Again, I can be very much wrong on that. But we have our obvious areas now for invalidation with yesterday's price action. So I suspect that that's, the thing to be going off of as of right now. So kind of summarizing my thoughts, I think that we've seen the high likely for October. We're probably going to see the low in November, very early on in the month. We'll go over that maybe in a later video. And Bitcoin going sideways here is going to generally benefit the BULAs, especially as long as Bitcoin is using that red 5 on the biweekly here as a nice basing point. Again, that's essentially the low of yesterday. So if Bitcoin were to trade below the low of yesterday, that's a big warning signal. Until then, it's probably the move. Again, with volatility like this, momentum like this, we just do not see this signal very often. And traditionally, it really only happens, in bullish markets. So fair enough. That's going to do it for today. Nice and short and sweet video here. Again, just a reminder, if you are on the prior website, the crowntrading.net website, it is down. We apologize for that. We're moving everything over here to Teachable. It's just a better destination for what we're doing right now. We have a lot more cool things coming up in the not so distant future, which we're really excited about. And if you want to get moved over and you were on the prior website, just email elsa.crowntrading@outlook.com and she will set you straight. Okay, cool. That's going to do it for today. As always, I'd like to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.